Welcome to the Shut Up and Work podcast. I am your wonderful host, the coach. Along with me is SJ and Cristina Alva. And that's right, ladies and gentlemen. The foxy lady is coming up, SJ. SJ, what you got on the topic today?
Hey, Coach. Hey, Christina. So I have something pretty interesting to me to talk about today. Last episode, we talked a little bit about how you might be putting yourself in jeopardy to lose your job by doing some things like were a conflict of interest or maybe even fraudulent. Well, how about just going about your everyday life and living your life? So I came across an article, and basically in this article, it described a situation where a man who just so happened to be, he's a TikToker, and his TikTok handle is at the life 2932. So he posted a situation where he ran into an employee from his job. So actually, this man is a VP. He's vice president of the company.
Ooh.
And while he was out and about just doing his thing, living his life, he happened to see a woman out in public who was on the phone yelling and cursing and having a private moment, but it was out in public. And this woman also happened to have an employee company badge on her. So, people know where she works, where she's from with this badge on. So he thought about it for a while, and then he approached her and said, maybe you should go somewhere a little bit more private so that you can have your conversation, or just take your badge off. And basically the woman turned to him and cussed him out as well,
Dun,
for
dun.
basically getting in her business. So after that, he went online and he started asking people for their feedback. What did they think he should do? Should he fire the woman immediately for being, a bad representation of the company? Or should he call her in and talk to her about the situation and give her basically another chance? So spoiler alert, I'm going to go ahead and tell you what happened. Ultimately, he did decide to have a meeting with her and her manager and let her know that who he was.
Okay.
And unfortunately, things didn't go very well, and she did end up getting dismissed from that job. He was hoping that there might have been a teachable moment, that she might have taken into consideration what it means to be a representation of that company, but it didn't really go down like that. So what I want to discuss today is what we do in public in our own personal lives and how that affects our careers and our jobs. Let's also take into consideration all of these Karens out here who are doing things. And there was recently another video that went viral about somebody in the medical industry and trying to take a bicycle from a man who had ordered it, and how that looked, because she was clearly, coming out of work and she had some coworkers there around her as well. So, I just think that it's a very interesting topic. And in this day and age of getting canceled, what that could mean to you.
Okay, cool. All right. Christina, you go first.
Oh, this is a great topic. Wow. I'm just reminded, most states are an at-will workplace. Most states have the at-will work rule in effect. So they can fire you your company can fire you basically for any reason or no reason at all, as long as it's not like retaliation or something protected by, federal law. But you don't want to give people a reason to fire you. That's all you should think in the end of the day, right? It's like, I never get caught slipping because I don't stand on a wet surface.
Like
So
that.
just
I like that too.
so just don't give people a reason to talk about you, especially SJ, as you mentioned, getting canceled in our cancel culture today. You could say the wrong thing, post the wrong thing, do the wrong thing. You may have every intention of doing it from a pure place, but if it's perceived incorrectly, now you got to worry about that too. So not only in your situation where she's just going about her day-to-day life and, just was in the wrong place at the wrong time, saying the wrong things to the wrong person. That reminds me of that show, Undercover Boss. These days, you don't know who you're standing next to. And with us all working from home more and more, or more people, let me say that because a lot of people are still in person, but with more people working from home, you won't see your coworkers and know who people are when you're out in public, who you're standing next to. You never know who you're standing next to. And so Even social media, that is a big one. What does your Facebook look like? Is it public? Are you cussing people out? Do you have on your work shirt when you going off on somebody on social media? Right? It's all of these things you have to think about how you present yourself, because you are, as SJ said, representing a company that has a brand.
Great point. Great
And
point.
most companies do have some type of code of conduct for their employees, even when it's off the premises. And especially if you are a company that appears in public, they have a code of conduct for you when you're out in public representing the company. And that extends to social media and your interactions with people as well.
Yes. Yep.
Yep.
And if
Exactly.
you're going to mention their name in any way or affiliate them with anything you have going on in any way, you have that logo on your t-shirt, on your hat, whatever, you're affiliating them. Now, I have questions about the VP who took it to the internet and said, what should I do? And explain this personal situation that was, if that was one of, his employees, that seems like a work-related issue. And I'd argue you could just blast people's public information like that. But they were outside, and she didn't know who he was, but I would like to know more about that part.
Mhm.
Well, from what I can tell, it was all entirely anonymous. So this is what the article says, and I'm quoting. The TikToker said, "Y'all, I'm extremely tired, but I have a quick question. I run to the grocery store to grab something for dinner, and while there, standing next to me is a young lady. And the young lady has a work badge on for the company of which I'm a VP. She is on the phone. She's MF for this and B this and extremely loud and inappropriate. So I say to her kindly, maybe she should continue her conversation in private or at least remove her work badge because representation is key and you never know who you're around." So she turns around and tells me to F off. So my next question is, next week, do I call her and her supervisor into my office because I was a stranger and she doesn't know me to express where I'm coming from? So it seems like it was all anonymous on his point. Of course, he's an online personality, so people recognize him, but he really didn't disclose any information about this person other than that she was a young lady.
Oh, okay. I see.
And he
So no
also asked,
PII.
oh, no. And we don't even know what company he works for. At least I don't follow him, but it wasn't listed in the article. And then he also asks, or do I just let it go? Or do I let her go? I'm very straightforward. Training is there, manuals are there, do your job, represent us well, we'll never have a problem. I don't know. The old me would say, see you later. The new me is kind of, I don't know. So what do you guys think? And I mean, that's what online is about, right? It's a forum. Because she could also easily go online, especially now that she's no longer part of the company, and plead her case and so forth.
Okay, let me jump in here real quick. The first, because this is what bothers me in both of these stories that SJ gave. One, listen, I get it. Women out there, I get it. I totally understand. Y'all want independence and things like this. But first off, let me say this. You got to be more careful in what you are doing on that side of it. So in the first story where the guy approached her and then she ended up going off on him again, we wasn't there. We don't know exactly what he said or how he said it, but still don't go off on a man because you never know if that man, he could have been somebody that wasn't a VP. He could have been somebody that was, as they say out in the streets, about that life. Maybe he could have walked up to her and said something just to get, just to start something or give him an excuse to do something to her. So that's first off. So always be thinking not only if is this person could be working for my company or could be my head boss, but just be thinking of as in a safety situation. Hey, I don't know this person. I shouldn't be talking this way because I don't know what this person doing. I don't know if they were recording me, as you guys have mentioned with today's society. I don't know who this person is. So she should have just been kept a level head, cooled off for a second, and then tried to get away from whoever this guy was, even though he might not have been a bad person. So that's my whole frame of thinking, and what bothers me about both of these stories. And the same thing with this lady who was a PA or whatever at the Bellevue Hospital in New York with this bike thing. Hey, you making plenty of money. If you paid for a bike or if you didn't pay for a bike in this situation, hey, check your phone, check your whatever you did to get this bike, check it and look at it on the receipt, and then maybe show the person, but calm the situation down. Don't just get in this hostile situation and environment. And then you see with, I don't know what the age was with this first lady that we were talking about, when the guy did say, okay, hey, I'm gonna give you a chance, let's go have a meeting, let's sit down, let me explain who I am. Evidently that didn't slow her roll. I guess she said, well, shit, I'm already stepping in shit, and I'm just gonna go ahead and just go face first into it, because she ended up getting fired for whatever rhyme or reason. So for me, that just what bothers me about both of these stories here. You got again, I don't know who the lady was talking to over the phone in the first story, but if she was asked to calm down, what should have came to her head is like, shit, am I in danger? Who is this guy that's telling me to calm down? And maybe she should have calmed down and maybe went to a quieter place. And then the second lady, as I said, hey, if she should have just calmed the situation. Hey, guy, okay, show me your receipt or whatever. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to grab the bike. Maybe I got the wrong city bike. Show me your receipt and I'm out of here. And I apologize.
She
And
didn't
just
even need to do all that. She could have just canceled the transaction on her own and moved on to another bike. But the fact that she was trying to weaponize her tears and
Yes.
make herself appear as a victim, when in fact she actually appeared like a fool, a liar, and
Yes.
and a menace to society.
Exactly. And that's my point. And that's, I know what you're saying, and I agree with you, SJ. And that's my whole point that I'm trying to say too, is that if somebody's filming you, you already looking like a jackass and you got your name tag on. In both of these stories, both women had their identity, facial and their name tag identifying who they were. So why not say, let me kind of just backtrack just a little bit here and cool the situation down and just say, okay, my bad, admit to your mistake and move on. Instead of in both situations, they end up trying to fight. And this woman, the second situation, this PA, she's gotten a lawyer from what I understand, from what I last heard, and they've drummed up a fake receipt somewhere. So it's just like she's just going deeper and deeper, just like the lady in the first, who, when the guy said, hey, let me pull her to the side, give her a chance to come clean with me, and this can be all taken care of. Oh no, the lady's like, I'm standing on my principle. But hey, like you said, SJ, probably part of the reason is they are both Karens, and we know how that goes.
If it were me, I would have just taken my badge off, because let's be honest, in this day and age, and I know I'm making myself sound like an old fuddy-duddy, but I am old school in some ways. I was
Well,
raised
so
with
am I,
traditional
SJ.
values. And even though I'm guilty of it too, it's really not cute to be out in public on the phone, acting a fool, cursing, doing all of that. It's really not, but that's what we do. We walk around constantly on our phones in public, having private conversations. So you really can't be too mad when somebody butts into your conversation, because it's not in private, or let's take the phone out of it. You're having an interaction with somebody, it's not going well, whether it's somebody in customer service, somebody on the street, whatever the case may be. If you lose your cool, you have a temper, there are consequences that come with that. The
Exactly.
easiest thing to do. Me, I would not like that. I would not appreciate somebody coming up to me and telling me, hey, you need to calm down. But if they did say something about me representing a company or affiliated with anything, let's say even the Shut Up and Work podcast, I'm not going to just turn and flip on you personally when I know that I'm making a bad representation for something, and maybe it's not something that I care about, but I do care about this podcast. But the point being, like, you have to make a choice, be aware, have some decorum about yourself. Now, Coach, I really appreciate what you were saying in terms of safety, because I didn't think about that. And that's the reality TV world that we live in. Everybody wants to be bigger and badder. So what if somebody did approach this woman, and then when she mouthed off to them, they made it physical? That could very easily happen. Would it have been worth it?
Exactly.
And let me just do a quick correction. I'm sorry. So this woman did not go to the meeting. She said that it wasn't worth her time. It wasn't important to her. And that is why she was dismissed from the company. So I don't know how many people would be so bold as to tell a VP, no, I'm not coming to your meeting. We don't need to discuss this.
Right.
I mean, that's a little bit different. So I apologize for that. That was an error on my part.
No, that's fine, because and see, here's the thing, SJ, just real quick, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's just the fact that whatever her excuse was, whether she just outright said, the hell with you, I'm not going, or whether she did go to the meeting and act a fool in there. Either way, it's the same, it leads down the same road, that she was very unprofessional in what she was doing. And so if she got canned or fired, hey, rightfully so. Hell, I would have handed her a pink slip.
I definitely understand your point, Coach, but I'm not sure that, because like I said, everybody is guilty of this behavior to some extent or another. I'm not saying that it necessarily warranted her getting fired, what she's doing in her personal life. But again, if somebody reminds you, hey, I know where you work, I see that you're affiliated with this company and you're behaving badly,
Right.
that's a good warning right there. Take heed to it.
Good point.
Yeah, I agree. I think people just need to be cognizant of the fact that this affects your job, right? It affects your bread and butter. Like if I was walking down the street and saw a daycare provider manhandling their own child, I'm not putting my kid in their daycare.
Yep.
Because you wearing your work t-shirt or whatever. I know what daycare you work at, or I know you and you don't have a t-shirt on or a badge on, but I know that you run that daycare, and I see you manhandling your own children in the grocery store, at church, or something like that. There's no way. And I'm going to spread word of mouth. Don't take your kid over there.
I saw them. He was over there beating
Right.
his
Right. Word of mouth is powerful. How you're perceived. This also reminds me of that incident back when the Boston Marathon bombing happened. And a young lady that following Halloween dressed up as a Boston Marathon victim and posted it on social media, and she was fired from her job. Her job wasn't even in Boston, right? But it was distasteful what she did and offensive, and she lost her job. So you have to think about what you do before you do it. I feel like we don't spend enough time, as you said, Coach, thinking about the consequences to our actions. And what you post, right? Was her account private? No. But even if it was, somebody could snag your stuff and share it, and it's you in the picture.
Yep.
Right. So you have to be mindful of all of that.
Yeah. And a good example, going back to what I was saying with the two ladies in this situation that got into these confrontations. Wasn't it just a month or two ago, the owner or the creator of the app, Cash App, that gentleman, he was kind of in a similar situation, right? In San Francisco, he was out. I believe they said he went to an ATM. Don't quote me on this. You have to go read the story. But he was approached by somebody, a regular looking man or whatever. And he came off a certain way towards this individual. And that individual was ready, was about that life, and ended up taking that dude's life. So that's the one thing that stood out to me in both of these situations, that first be careful, especially if you're out in public, not only from people recording you and looking at you and putting you and exposing you on social media, but also just for a safety precaution. So that was my big thing. All right. So that's all I have to say on this subject.
Yeah, good points. It's a good one.
All right. So does anybody have anything else?
This will definitely be continued because this is going to continue to come up.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Almost on a weekly basis. All right, everyone. Well, hey, thank you for listening to us once again. And y'all know what to do. Please hit that like, share, subscribe, and comment to our channel. And thank you for all your support in helping us reach 1,000 subscribers in less than 3 months. And continue to support and share and comment to our channel. So with that being said, this does it for this episode. And we will see you next time. Take care.